This is a follow-up to my before Fnaf video. I highly recommend you watch that first. Following my before Fnaf video, 3 big things happened. 1. Scott Cawthon commented. 2. The Piper was beaten and recorded. And 3. Another piece of Scott Cawthon lost media was discovered. So yes, Scott Cawthon commented on the video a few days after release. I really did not expect him to interact with this video at all, as during my research for the video, I emailed him asking if he'd be willing to answer some questions about his past work, and he never responded. Which I was not surprised about. Scott is known as a bit of a reclusive guy, and I didn't even know if the email I was using was active anymore. But he did somehow find this video and comment. His comment reads, "It's very flattering, humbling, and a little embarrassing too, to have everything laid out like this. The good, the not so good, the kinda bad, the bad, and the desperate too. Sometimes I wish I could go back and tweak this history a little, but it is what it is, and you're very correct in saying that I'm no genius. I appreciate the care you took in presenting all of this. It's very well done." On the one hand, this comment is pretty wholesome. I'm really glad he enjoyed the video overall. On the other hand, I'm a bit embarrassed myself because I just spent 3 months researching someone's life and never seriously thought about how they might receive the video if they ever saw it. Which I'm kind of glad I did because everything I said was my honest thoughts, no sugarcoating. I'm a bit conflicted. Whatever the case, this was cool, and it's good to know Scott is still out there interacting with his fans. Less than a month after the before Fnaf video was uploaded, the first ever recording of the Piper, a boss from one of Scott's early games, Moon, being beaten, was uploaded onto YouTube by Mr. MacLeod, and within 24 hours, the second ever recording was uploaded by Vector. About a month after that, Big Al, aka Scott Games Fanboy, was the first to record himself beating the Piper on hard mode. Let's take a brief look at their strategies. Mr. MacLeod first starts by signing all their fighters, which brings them to full charge. According to him, Stonefoot and Shockspear are by far the best attacks to use on the Piper. Stonefoot freezes him, then Shockspear spawns taser pods which attack him every time they're in his view. This gives him enough time to set up all his players into defense mode. This is the main reason he survived for this battle. He also makes sure to always keep his players' health points up and made sure the Piper couldn't ever heal. The rest of the fight is simply waiting for his characters to charge and quickly picking which powerful attacks to use that are available. Since he took time to max out all his stats, his characters have a lot of power and a lot of leeway. My party stats when I attempted to defeat the Piper didn't even approach maximum. This is basically a brute force method.
No freaking way, I just beat the Piper. Are you kidding me?
A working strategy, sure, but there are some close calls, and they took twice as long as the second uploader, Vector, to beat him. Vector's stats were only maxed out in a few key areas, especially in damage. Vector signs his first 2 characters to bring them to full charge, and then picks Life Block, which blocks all damage for 10 seconds. Immediately after that, he picks Warp 10, which significantly increases charge speed. Then he goes for a variety of high-charged attacks. Shockspear sets up some flying drones to attack the Piper in the background. At this point, he keeps picking Life Block every 10 seconds, which blocks all damage the Piper could inflict, while the Piper takes damage until he is defeated. For hard mode, Big Al maxed out all his stat buffs and has very strong characters in his party with nearly all their options available. He starts by setting all his characters to defense, then chooses Warp 10 a couple of times and boosts physical attack power. He gives Silence the robot song sign, which spawns 5 Tinkertops at the start of the battle. Then he spawns some more until he reaches the maximum number of them. Once he's ready, he sets everyone back to mid, which is a mix of defense and attack. He then gets in a life block every 10 seconds. Once he's confident enough, he then sets everyone on attack mode. If he can keep life blocks up, this will keep the Piper's heavy attacks at bay. In the final quarter of the Piper's health bar, he's ready to pick Tinkertop Stun, and it's all over.
Oh my god, yes, yes! I did it! Oh my god, I did it!
So it seems that high stats and spamming life block is one way to consistently beat the Piper. Congratulations, you 3 get the Solar Sands Gold Star of Achievement. Or something. Shortly after my video released, evidence for a new piece of media was found, and a whole movie was found. First, the evidence. Coffee, on the Lost Scott Games Discord, found this Corpus Christi, Texas newspaper entry from 1999 mentioning 3 birds and a snake. Then an Austin Chronicle article from 1998 was found mentioning the animation. Yet another piece of Scott Cawthon media centered around birds. Since this was made when Scott was in college, this is likely a college demo reel. The cartoon was aired on January 5th at 11 p.m. on Austin PBS KLRU, as part of an indie short film and video showcase. The article reads, 3 Birds and a Snake by Scott Cawthon, Salado, 1997. Computer graphic animation mixes easily with old-fashioned morality in this humble, charming fable. Since 3 Birds and a Snake was made in 1997, this makes it the oldest piece of Scott Cawthon media after Doofus, Cawthon's first game. This would be a pretty amazing find if the short even exists anymore. Finally, the next piece of lost media we actually found. Several months ago, Phil LaBrave emailed David Hutter of Hope Animation asking if he had Bird Village the movie anywhere. After waiting a few months, Hutter replied, and apparently Scott had sent him 3 tapes 10 years ago, 2 Mushnail DVDs, which we have, and 1 Bird Village VHS. Because of Phil and Hutter, we now have a digital scan of the original VHS tape. Bird Village the Movie is a 44-minute animated film which is remarkably ambitious. The film has even more monumental environments, several action scenes, unique flying technology, and there's new characters too. Jacques, who is the villain of the movie, and Beak's lady friend. We also get backstory for Seabill and his family, who all exist as submarine seagull things that were suddenly separated and scattered by a violent event. This film also made me realize Camo is just a recolored Doofus the dinosaur. Of course, crazy robots litter the entire runtime. There's robot drones, this crazy robot dog monster thing with lots of teeth, and a giant robot version of Jacques, which is just his model with a metallic greebled texture copied and pasted numerous times. In the story, Stork creates a wormhole device that can travel in time. His rival Jacques steals it and makes a giant version of it in space that uses the gravity of a comet to power it and bring back an invention his future self would have made, all while the rest of the gang tries to stop him. It's all pretty wild. There's also a lot of clipping, especially in the underwater section. I assumed it was a stylistic thing before, but maybe it's just a consequence of Scott's ambition, because so many characters try to fit into things that would not fit them. Once again, I'm amazed that one person basically created this entire animated movie, and even though it's much shorter than a typical movie, so much happens in it. There are so many set pieces, so many gags.
Ah, love is in the air. Now come over here for a second, will you?
I found it a lot more entertaining than the previous Bird Village shorts, and it's a shame this thing was lost for so long. So with these, we can fill in our timeline just a little bit more. Again, I have to emphasize, it's amazing one man basically made over 70 games and animations. And the more that are found, the more we can flesh out Scott Cawthon's media history. So that's the end of this update video. I do want to take this time to highlight this abysmal thing. So prominent fan artist Dave made this plush for me a few months ago. It's taken over my Tumblr asks, it's taken over my secret Discord, it's everywhere, and I'm tired of it. He even made a plushie of my dog. Everybody tell Dave to go focus on his education instead of this. Oh my god, he's making a bigger one.